do you want from me? I'm just blood and flesh and bones. I'm not an answer.
Welcome to Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, the show where the Office of Military Affairs keeps you mildly entertained and more or less up to date on what's going on at UNCW. Your hosts are Joanna DeMott, the Military Liaison and Program Coordinator, and Melanie Nelson, the Military Student Services Specialist. Well, hello, Joanna. How are you today?
I'm going to say a reserved great. The weather is kind of trying to bring me down. I'm fighting against it, but a reserved great today. How are you today, Melanie?
I am excellent, partly because I can see behind you into your beautiful new office shelving in the home office. Joanna continues to telework at this point for the most part, and has recently decided to kind of upgrade and enhance her home office environment. And this has been a project that has been an entire pandemic in the making, so I'm happy to see that it's finally come to fruition.
I enjoy it as well, and thank you so much for noticing. It has been a project, and we're very, very proud. As you many know, this is our forever home. We've been traveling around with the military for 20 years, so to finally have a forever home where you can put furniture that weighs 800 pounds is pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. I'm super excited today. We have an amazing guest. Lindsay LeRoy, the Director of Alumni Relations at UNCW and the Executive Director of the UNCW Alumni Association is joining us. How are you today, Lindsay?
I am doing well. How are you, Joanna and Melanie? It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. We are super excited to have you on and increase what we know about the university, what our audience of 12 whole subscribers knows about the university and all the myriad things that go on. What is your work situation now? How has your job changed since this whole pandemic?
Yeah, so I have been working from home since I think it was March 15th or 17th. It's a day that is forever etched in my mind. So as you can imagine, in alumni relations, a lot of the work that we do is a lot of face-to-face relationship building type work. So a lot of that has been shifting to Zoom calls and meetings in a virtual space. So that's what's going on. So some of my biggest challenges are finding uninterrupted space for meetings. So right now I'm standing at my kitchen table. I've been in my car, I've been in my bedroom, I've been everywhere. So just trying to find quiet space.
Yes, our coworkers can be quite nosy and they don't let you have a moment's peace. I know you have a new coworker in your home. Is that correct?
I do. I have a new coworker who is 14 weeks old and he is a golden doodle puppy. So his name is Quest and he has been keeping me, on my Apple Watch. It reminds me to stand up all the time. So I'm not having any problems standing up quite a bit and getting my fresh air.
I love it. Quest the doodle.
Yeah.
Melanie has some interesting questions for you. So I'm going to turn you right on over there.
Sounds good.
I do indeed have some interesting questions for you. So the first and most important question, this is foundational for the remainder of our interview, is what are you snacking on these days? You're working at your kitchen table right now, you're standing up, you're getting a little bit of that exercise, but how are you fueling that? What are you snacking on?
So I have always really not been a huge snacker, but what I will say is I have been a huge fan of delivery food these days. So I grew up in the mountains of Pennsylvania in a very rural town. And it was a 20-minute ride going 60 miles an hour to the closest food restaurant, grocery store, whatever the case. And that's if you're, obviously driving fast. So I never had pizza delivery. I never had any delivery. So this has always been such a novel thing for me. I mean, that was years and years ago, but I still am so amazed that people can have food delivered. So, it's always been kind of a novel thing. I always thought I'll just go and pick up food. I don't need people to deliver it. So, but this whole COVID thing has given me the reason to have delivery, and it is the coolest thing ever. So I've been ordering out from Chipotle and all kinds of various restaurants these days. So that's what I've been eating.
That is exciting. Yes. Even if you're not snacking, just having a new, a new medium for getting the food to you, it's like, oh yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Well, I'm glad to
That
hear
is,
that. Because otherwise I would have had to ask you, are you sharing snacks with your dog? Because sometimes that happens. We don't have to go there today though. Next, very, very important question. You have multiple job titles at UNCW, and I'm going to ask you to dive into that a little bit more. But because you work in alumni relations, I can't help but notice right now you are wearing a teal shirt. And I'm just curious, as a minor point of interest, how much teal is in your wardrobe for work or after work? Do you wear it every day? Tell me about the teal.
every day, every day. I have so many teal clothes, but it's basically, if you're shopping and you see something teal, you just have to buy it. End of story. Around the holidays, I get teal accessories. My mom loves buying me scarves, so I have teal scarves and teal earrings. I try to keep those forever teal accessories. So if I have a teal earring in, then I always have teal on, and I can always say I'm ready to go. But I have teal glasses, a whole 9 yards.
That's commitment right there. That is commitment. You better not ever go to another university and take another job. You'd have to redo your entire professional wardrobe.
I know. I'm just so thankful that we have such a beautiful color here at UNCW, because it could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. We won't mention the colors and the schools associated with them that we're thinking of right now, but yes, I think I know what you mean. So, okay, those were 2 very important questions. Just had to get that out. So again, Director of Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of the UNCW Alumni Association. Can you tell us what, those to me kind of sound like the same thing, but they're obviously very different. Can you tell us more about those?
Sure. So my role as the Director of Alumni Relations, I'm part of the university. I work in the Office of University Advancement, or the Division for University Advancement, as part of our Alumni Relations team. So there are, when we're fully staffed, there are 4 of us, and our role truly is to engage alumni into the life of the university. So that's my alumni director hat. So we work to create programs to engage alumni back, and just really think all things engagement. Now, the UNCW Alumni Association is actually a separate entity of the university. We are a separate 501c3. We have an active alumni board of directors that serves in support of all of the activity that the alumni relations team does. So I serve as the executive director of that group, and we meet on a quarterly basis to go, to work on different initiatives and ways to find relevant programming for our alumni and to really connect them back.
That's cool. So you have 2 different groups, 2 different roles that kind of feed back and weave in and out of each other.
Yes, they are very much entwined.
Yes. In the Navy, we would call this one a collateral duty. And the joke is that, when you're an undergraduate, sometimes you collect minors as you go, and you sort of oh, and I'm interested in this, and I'm interested in this, and you're just adding all these minors to your main major. In the Navy, we would say that you kind of pick up collateral duties as you go, and then you get stuck with the same ones at every assignment that you take thereafter. So if you were the command fitness instructor, then you continue being the command fitness instructor at every new command you go to, which, blessing, curse, it depends, right? So this idea that you're picking up an additional collateral duty within and without the state system is there's some parallels there. So tell me a little bit about how you wound up in this job. And let's rewind all the way back to when you were in college. What major and minors did you pick up?
Sure. So way back, oh geez. So I went to Penn State University, and I majored in advertising and public relations, which was in the College of Communications. After college, I was really hoping to move to a larger city. So I was just looking for any job available. And I ended up in the Washington, D.C. area. And throughout my college career, a lot of the folks who are in advertising and PR end up in New York City working for an advertising firm. And as I went through the degree program, I kind of didn't want to live in New York City. And so I really kind of shifted gears, and I ended up, my first job out of college was actually working for a contract engineering firm, and I was a professional recruiter in the Washington, D.C. area. So I worked to recruit engineers for specific positions within, I worked with NASA, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, all of these different organizations. So I was essentially kind of a headhunter per se. So I did that job for quite some time. But I always have loved academia, and I've loved the feel of being in a university and in a college. So there was actually an opportunity through the University of Maryland in their Smith School of Business. There was a position that was an employer development manager. So they were looking specifically for someone who has had recruiting experience, but really working within the college to help promote the students who were taking classes and trying to place them into specific roles. So I was lucky enough to land that position. So I worked there for about 5 years and traveled up to New York City quite a bit to try to really tell the story of how great the University of Maryland business students are. I made a lot of connections with different University of Maryland alumni, so on and so forth. So I was happy as a lark there. And then I met my now husband, who is from Wilmington. So we had been living in DC, and really it's just, DC is a tough place to raise a family. I mean, we were single at the time, so we were there at the perfect time. But we really kind of wanted to be in more of a relaxed pace setting. So his family is here in Wilmington. So he twisted my arm to give up my I had a 15-mile commute, took over an hour every single day to move to the beach. So I was looking at all different types of positions, specifically at UNCW. And I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. And there was a posting in the Alumni Relations office for the assistant director of Alumni Relations for regional programs, which parlayed directly into the experience that I had at the University of Maryland. And I was lucky enough to land that position. And that was back in 2008. And I've been in alumni relations the entire time. So I was the assistant director all the way up through 2014, and I've been in the director role ever since then. So it's really kind of been, little pieces have been all tied together throughout my career. So I've been really happy and excited about that.
Yeah, so I'm hearing lots of things that we've discussed with other people on this podcast. Number one, I got my master's degree from Penn State, so hooray. And, Joanna will probably connect with you on a couple of points in a moment. I can see her nodding along in solidarity as you discuss certain elements of your career. But what I like is that, you wound up in Wilmington for the same reason a lot of people wind up in Wilmington, either families here or hello, beach, and hello, not a bad commute anywhere. But then, when you're kind of like, I wasn't sure where it would end up, and then alumni relations, you were totally able, probably because you'd been helping people parlay their experiences all along into getting into these roles in engineering and otherwise. You probably didn't have too tough of a time doing that to get into your role here. But what's neat about working in the state system is that you do get to kind of sink roots into one particular subfield and just continue in that discipline. And, eventually, like, look, you've been doing this for how long now? You're totally an expert in the field of alumni relations. And it's kind of cool that you get to move up the ladder there a little bit and, pick up some extra collateral duties in the same field along the way. So very interesting. Thank you for sharing that story with us. And I am going to hand you back to Joanna now so that she can talk about commuting in DC.
No, we don't ever want to talk about that again, but I do understand your pain. Yes, I do on so many fronts. 3 hours in the car for a work day, and now I'm at home and the beach is right there. I mean, why would you ever go back? I don't.
I know. It's crazy. I used to sit in the car, and I would just get myself out in the car and start driving on the Beltway, and I'd like be doing my makeup and, shaving my legs, like anything you can do in the car while you're sitting for hours.
Anything to save 5 more minutes because of just,
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Super, super grateful that that's not part of my lifestyle anymore, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yes, indeed.
all those things at home now and still get to work on time. It's amazing. What is your favorite part of what you do? And if it can be two separate pieces from the different roles, or the same goal, what is it?
Yeah, I would say it's obviously the people that I work with, the alumni that I work with. We have 90,000 alumni globally. So it has just been such an honor and a blessing to work with all of the different alumni. Hearing all the stories, I mean, depending on when you went to UNCW or Wilmington College, there are so many stories that radiate out through the campus, which is, it's never a dull moment. And I would say too, you talk about all of the connections that are made. What is it? The 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like the 7 Seahawk degrees. I mean, there's been so many times that I have been potentially working with someone in a specific alumni chapter, and they are best friends with someone else I'm working in another chapter. They don't even know that they're involved. They're each involved with the Alumni Association. And then they see each other at an alumni event. They're like, oh my gosh, that's really, really been cool. I had a situation once. We were getting our Triad area alumni chapter up and running. So I was working on identifying alumni in the Greensboro area. And we had our first interest meeting, and we had 2 women who were there, both 1970s grads. And so we were sitting down for dinner, and the one woman, she walked in, she was like, Mary? And the other one, she looked over, she's like, Jill? And they were roommates at UNCW, and they hadn't seen each other since they graduated. So now, and I use different names just to protect their identities, but I mean, it was just awesome. And now they work together quite a bit, with different alumni initiatives in the Triad. So all of those different types of connections have been wonderful to see.
I love it. There's just, you're connecting people and making these pathways for collaboration as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What do you think some misconceptions are about what you do? When you tell somebody what you do, what do they think that's not quite right?
Yeah, I would say misconceptions are I would say, like I mentioned, there are 90,000 alumni. And I think oftentimes when students graduate from UNCW, they think like, oh, that's the end, I'm done. And really, an alumni's relationship with the university is a lifelong connection. We are here to support alumni throughout everything. So whether it be looking for a new job, moving to a new city, just trying to find activities to do, book clubs, whatever the case may be, social activities. But truly, I mean, it is a lifelong connection. So I just hope that all graduates know that. And I would say too, another thing is understanding really the power of an alumni network. I mean, when you have 90,000 people globally, that's a lot of connections. So, for a student who's getting ready to graduate, if there's a specific position that they're looking for, or a specific company they're looking to connect with, we can help make those connections. But really, it's about setting the foundation for those who are coming after you. So I know alumni are just chomping at the bit to get back in front of students to try to help them out as much as possible, and helping one another out, through their lives. So it's pretty awesome.
That is powerful. I didn't realize that foundation that's created and how you can reach right back in and start fresh. Do you have an interest that you consider a passion? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be work related. We had somebody say they were taking surfing lessons, whatever you feel.
Yeah, I would say we talked about this briefly at the beginning, but my new passion is dog training. Or puppy training, I guess. So we had a dog for 13 years. His name was Motley. And Motley was my very first dog. When I was growing up, I always wanted a dog. And my mom always said, she's like, well, when your youngest brother is 18, then you can get a dog, which I was too slow to figure out that meant I was probably going to be out of the house by that point. So So we had Motley the dog, and my husband truly took the alpha role with this dog. I mean, they were just two peas in a pod. I loved him to pieces, but he wouldn't listen to me as well as he listened to my husband, and so on and so forth. So, so now with this puppy, he sits at my feet all day long and has since the beginning of August. And we've been working on training and things, and I am turning into the alpha, and I am so excited about it. And my husband is so upset about it. He even said, he was like, I am going to get another dog if this dog is not his. So we may end up with another dog in our midst soon, but it's just really neat to watch this puppy. I mean, he's just so responsive, and he's starting to learn to come and sit and do all of those things. So it's just pretty neat to see.
And that is a passion and quite a commitment to train them and keep it going. All that consistency. I love it. I love new puppies and all the things. Definitely don't want to go back to that stage at this point. I think it's kind of like having children who've moved on into to higher ages, but I love it. And I'll definitely need to see a picture of your puppy very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you want our listeners to know? Do you have any upcoming events or changes in your services?
Sure. I would say, one of the biggest things when we have new or alumni that start to get involved with the Alumni Association and the different events, the thing I hear over and over and over again is, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I can't believe these services are available to me. This is an awesome way to connect with, my fellow alumni. This event is so much fun. So I would say for those alumni who are listening, visit our website. We've got all kinds of activities and support initiatives set up for you to really get back involved with the Alumni Association, with your fellow Seahawks. Like I said, it's super easy. The commitment can be whatever you want it to be. If you just want to kind of come out for an event, great. If you'd like to get more involved as a volunteer or alumni leadership, there are opportunities for that. We work very closely with the UNCW Career Center in connecting employers to UNCW and hiring if you're looking to hire someone. So truly, wherever walk of life you're in, we have something for you, and we hope to give you those added benefits. And also follow us on Facebook. And with everything being virtual now, we have everything posted on our Facebook page. We also have an Instagram page and Twitter as well, new on Twitter. So check us out, UNCW Alumni Association.
And great pics all the time. The pictures are very, very, very nice. We enjoy those.
That's great. We try to tell a story. Again, not everybody can come out to everything, but at least you can kind of see what's going on, and we hope to see you the next time.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on with us today, Lindsay. It's been a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, Joanna. And thank you, Melanie. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. And this has been an episode of Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, and we will see you on the internet.
Thank you for listening to Mildly Entertaining. Our intro music comes from the band Blue Turnip and their song, What Do You Want From Me? You can find their EP Songs from the Root Cellar on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. For more information, you can go to blueturnipmusic.com.